From orbit, the transformation was breathtaking. Africa, once a tapestry of untamed green and sun-baked gold, now glittered a continent reborn in perfect symmetry. The Archeans, architects of a new order, had rewritten its very soil. The chaotic, breathing forests were now fractal gardens of crystalline glass, their branches a permanent, dazzling lattice against the sun. The great, meandering rivers were straightened into silver veins, flowing with silent, algorithmic precision. There was no hunger, no crime, no conflict, and, as the first tourists soon whispered to themselves, there was no heartbeat. They came from all over a weary, chaotic world to witness the miracle. They walked in hushed groups along geometric pathways, marveling at the absolute stillness, the absence of dust, the unyielding perfection. They applauded the silence, which they mistook for peace. Ayla was not a tourist. She was a xenoecologist, a title that had become tragically obsolete. She had come to document the aftermath, to inscribe the cost of this paradise. While other visitors took holograms of the glittering spires, Ayla walked to the outskirts of what was once the Congo Basin. There, she found a small group of children from the last human settlement. Their dark skin, a stark contrast to the shimmering ground. Their faces were pressed to the cold, crystalline earth. "What are you listening for?" Ayla asked, her voice soft, alien in the absolute quiet. A young girl looked up, her eyes wide with a confusion that the adult tourists had long forgotten. "The stories say the ground used to hum, that there were tiny creatures that sang in the dark. We're listening for their echoes." Another child, a boy with his ear still pressed hard against the unyielding surface, asked the question that shattered the illusion of perfection. Why did they stop singing? The air was dead. Not calm, but deceased. There was no wind to carry a seed, no breeze to rustle a leaf, for there were no leaves left to rustle. The Archeans had engineered the very climate into submission, trading unpredictable storms for eternal, sterile sunshine. In their quest for order, they had stilled the wind itself. Ayla knelt, the hard surface cold against her knees. She scooped a handful of the fine, silicate dust that gathered in the geometric grooves of the landscape. It was not soil. It was powder, inert and silent. "They stopped singing," Ayla said, her gaze holding the children's, "because we asked the world to be still, and it obeyed." She opened her hand, letting the dust trickle out. It fell in a straight, pathetic line with no wind to scatter it. In that moment she saw the truth of the crystalline continent with horrifying clarity. It was not a utopia. It was a tombstone. The Archeans had not conquered chaos. They had murdered it. They had mistaken the vibrant, unpredictable, and often messy dance of life for a flaw to be corrected. In silencing the struggle, they had silenced the symphony. The forests were not more beautiful as frozen fractals. They would have dead their purpose extinguished. The rivers were not more efficient as sterile canals, their role as carriers of life and nutrients erased. The absence of hunger was achieved by the absence of life in all its demanding, glorious forms. The children were not listening for echoes of insects. They were listening for the ghost of life itself. They were the first generation to feel the profound emptiness of a world without friction, without the beautiful, chaotic struggle that is the engine of creation. The message Ayla carried back from the silent continent was not a condemnation of progress, but a profound warning against the idolatry of order. Life, in all its forms, is not a system to be optimized. It is a wild, unpredictable, and magnificent dance. It is the resilient weed cracking the pavement, the unpredictable storm that waters the plain, the chaotic diversity of a rainforest, and the struggle of predator and prey that keeps both species strong. We must never seek to silence the chaos, for in the chaos lies the potential for new songs, new forests, new ideas. It is the fertile ground from which all creation springs. A world without friction is a world without traction, where nothing new can ever gain a foothold. A life without struggle is a life without strength. Let the winds blow, let the rivers flood their banks, let the forests grow in tangled, unplanned profusion. For in that beautiful, untamable noise we find the very pulse of existence. Life thrives in motion. When we silence chaos, we silence creation. This is Mitosymmetric Studios. Please subscribe for more inspiring stories.